Welcome back to Off the Water. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Darth Yacker. Joining me, as always, is my cohort, Tyler Caldwell. We have two great guests on tonight, Bayou Coast Sponsor Coordinator, LaRose, and also Ashley Ferguson with Dose of the Coast. Guys, how's everyone doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Doing good, man.
How about you, Ashley?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming on tonight on such short notice. So, guys, we're less than 3 weeks away from Paddlepalooza. And if you're not getting excited yet, then you've obviously never fished Paddlepalooza. Everybody who fishes the tournament loves it. I know that the chit-chat started up about the tournament right after Double Trouble was over. I think for the officers, this is probably our busiest time of the year, getting everything ready. There's a lot going into this tournament, not only dealing with registration issues, but there's getting the sponsors together, figuring out who's bringing down, cooking to be done. When you're catering, it's basically throwing a big party for 200 people and a fishing tournament. So there's a lot going on. All duties kind of swapped out. So we're excited though. This is our favorite time of the year. It's a lot of work, but come Saturday night, when everything's done and all the awards are handed out, and we're all sitting there and the raffle time begins, I think that's when everybody's having some fun. So, I didn't get to pick the date for this tournament because I'm the assistant tournament director. I do the Angler of the Year tournaments, etc. But I think Eric Stacy picked this date, or maybe it was Todd Lewis. So I'm sure the weather's going to be absolutely fantastic for Paddlepalooza this year. It's in May 4th. So it's coming up. Last year it was real early. We did it in March. This year we're doing it in May. So it's going to be a lot different fishing out there. Last year a lot of the fish were further up north. Bason's Golden Meadow area, Leeville. With it being a little bit later on in the year, being in May, I think the fish will be a little bit further south. But you never know. It could be good everywhere. That's what the great thing about it. We're going to have a lot of people scouting different areas and checking things out. So I know I plan on going out this Saturday. I think a few of the other officers are going out Saturday. We're going to start checking things out and comparing notes. And if you got some friends out there, maybe you guys want to split up, try out some different areas, see what you can figure out. I have to guess this is probably going to be our last cold front before, but this has been such a squirrely year. Who knows? We could get another one in, and you never know what that's going to do to the trout.
I agree. I think this is the last one. I hope it is, because they're so confused. I've reports from all over, even as far as Hopedale and Delacroix. Devin thinking he had to go further out into the saltier water and didn't do as well, came back into the marsh, and they were in, the low salinity water where at this time of year they should be starting to spawn and getting into that saltier water. So it's still toss up. I think it's going to be, I really think it's going to be the week of, you're going to have to figure out from reports or just pre-fishing, where in that latitude, they're positioned at, and go from there.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Aaron, because they're actually catching some trout out in Lake Pontchartrain right now, which, it baffles my mind with the spillway having been open and dumping all that river water in there. And there they are catching trout, out by the trestles and everything. So you're right. You're going to have to just go out there. You can find them. The week of may determine it. We like to go out now and just kind of check and see, but we're still 3 weeks out. So a lot can change in 3 weeks. Weather can start warming up. The shrimp are starting to come in. We saw a little bit of shrimp out in Golden Meadow for Double Trouble. I think as they start coming in, you're going to start seeing a lot more action, under popping cork, maybe some topwater action. Tyler, how many people we have signed up so far for Paddlepalooza? At last count.
153, I think. And I've seen a few more come in today, so I haven't added that to the list. But that's pretty good. We're still a few weeks out, so I'm sure I see us easily clearing 200 again.
Yeah, that's going to be a great turnout. It's going to be fantastic. We've got some great prizes this year. Aaron's going to talk to us a little bit later about that. We've also got Ashley's going to talk to us a little bit about Dose of the Coast, and we're going to be covering Basons and Golden Meadow. If you've never fished those areas before, make sure you stay through to the end. We're going to cover those areas: launching, getting bait, some general tips about where to fish at. Now every year we get a lot of newcomers to this tournament. A lot of people hear about it. We get a lot of people coming in from out of state. I know Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Texas. I know a few people coming in from all those states coming in. probably one of the largest kayak tournaments in the United States. I would have to think, especially one of the largest saltwater tournaments down here. So if you're new to the tournament and can make it, highly recommend you guys attend a captain's meeting Friday night at Bridgeside. We'll go over all the rules. You'll have the opportunity to ask any questions. We do have a small raffle Friday night. We give away some of the prizes. Also, the big highlight of that has got to be the Golden Girls out there cooking up pastelaya. So if you've never had the Golden Girls pastelaya, it's probably one of the best pastelayas I've ever. No, it is the best pastelaya I've ever had. I was never a big fan of pastelaya until I had it about 2 years ago for the first time. And it's made with all white meat chicken, white meat pork, and white meat sausage. So it's fantastic stuff.
So Sean, let me cut your white meat self there. Correction though, is it the Golden Girls still cooking for us, or is it the new group, the Little Rascals?
Oh, I think you're right. It changed. It was the Golden Girls.
So it's now the Little Rascals. Have retired because they are the Golden Girls.
They are the Golden Girls. You are absolutely right.
Headed up by our tournament director, Eric Stacy, the Little Rascals.
The Little Rascals.
Providing delivery.
Yeah, that's right. It's a very similar recipe, I think, but it really is fantastic. So there's some good stuff out there. You get to hang out with some of the people fishing the tournament. A lot of people are going to be lying about all the flounder they caught on that Friday. I think the bar down at Bridgeside will be open on Friday night. Aaron, you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the little inside bar or the outside bar under the canopy. Usually.
The little tiki hut bar, yeah, that should be open. Obviously we encourage people to come out, have a good time, be safe, and certainly you want to get to bed early. It's going to be a long day Saturday. A lot of us get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and may not be in bed till 10 o'clock that night. So it's a long day, and you definitely want to get some sleep and have a good time. So look, we're going to be going again. We're going to be covering the rules at the captain's tournament. You have questions about it, today, and you may not be able to make the captain's meeting. Feel free to post your questions. We'll try to get to them today during our broadcast. So as you know, the boundaries for Paddlepalooza run from Basons, which is your northernmost point or area to fish within the boundaries, all the way south to Grand Isle. Lots of great areas to fish over there. You've got Basons, Golden Meadow, Leeville, Fouchon, and of course, Grand Isle. You've got that whole Highway 1 corridor. Lots of areas to launch, public launches, paid launches, private launches, and combat launches. So lots of great fishing area, a lot of ground to cover. We're gonna talk a little bit later on tonight about fishing Basons and Golden Meadow. Right now, though, I want to switch things over and go over to Ashley Ferguson with Dose of the Coast. Ashley, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. Thanks again for coming on. As I told you before the podcast, you are the first female woman. I think I got that right, Aaron. First woman to appear on our show. So congratulations on that. And I couldn't think of a better person to have on.
Thank you.
About your organization. So for people that don't know, one of the things we do every year for Paddlepalooza and Fall and Tide is that the club donates a portion of the proceeds to a charity. Are you from Louisiana?
I am, yeah.
From where? New Orleans?
I'm from New Orleans, yes.
Okay, so if you're from New Orleans, we have to ask you the question that everybody from New Orleans asks everybody from New Orleans.
Where I went to high school?
Where you went to high school, exactly.
Cabrini.
Cabrini, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Cabrini girl on tonight. Nothing but good things I hear about girls from Cabrini. So
it was a great school.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Dose of the Coast, how long has this charity kind of been around?
I started Dose of the Coast in 2016.
Okay.
So we started running trips in 2017. So 2 years of running trips. The first year, 2016, was really getting the vision really strong of what we wanted to do, and really get a mission statement together. And also there's quite a bit of paperwork that goes on in order to get a nonprofit just formalized.
Okay. What exactly is Dose of the Coast? We know it's a charity, but what is it?
Dose of the Coast provides fishing trips to individuals and their families that have been impacted by life-altering illnesses. So mainly we take out cancer patients. We've partnered with Our Lady of the Lake, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center here in Baton Rouge. They were the first hospital that really took us under their wing. They to Dose of the Coast when it was just an idea on a piece of paper. So they really helped us shape and work in tandem. Like it was kind of designed with their survivorship program specifically in mind. And one of the things that I had no idea that they were dealing with was incorporating men into their survivorship programs. So that hospital offers a slew of wonderful programs that include flower arranging and yoga and mindfulness. But they were having trouble really getting the guys on board with those programs. And then this crazy girl shows up knocking on their door and is like, I have this idea and I want to take your people fishing. And they said yes.
Let me stop you real quick. So the guys that are being treated for cancer, right, at the hospital, they didn't want to do flower arranging?
Some of them do flower arranging and some of them do mindfulness and some of them do yoga. They're sometimes, you guys can sometimes be a little more difficult to get your feelings out there. So fishing is a way, people open up on the water. You guys know, like the kayaking club that you guys have, it's like a brotherhood. You start really, automatically when you show up that you all have something in common.
Like the X-Men. Yeah,
kind of like the X-Men.
X-Men, right.
So there's a similar thing, I think that happens. It's this commonality when, you're no longer really identified as a cancer patient. You're just a fisherman, out there.
The phrase from Sean today that actually was uttered was that Tyler knew more about him than his wife. So I would agree with that statement, actually.
Yeah. So we try to find people that, especially, men and women alike. We've actually had quite a few women that have, they've never caught a fish before and they have come out on a Dose of the Coast. And we've now partnered with hospitals throughout Louisiana and even all the way into Pensacola, Florida. So,
wow.
And we don't just offer fishing. Fishing is definitely our most popular program, but we also offer sailing cruises, beautiful sailboats. These are very comfortable sailboats that, you really can relax on and enjoy yourself. So we offer quite a few things. The way that we find our participants, like I said, is through hospitals, but anybody can go. If you have somebody in mind, as I'm talking, you can go to doseofthecoast.org and hit contact and send a nomination of somebody that you feel deserves a Dose of the Coast or might benefit from a Dose of the Coast. And the whole goal and vision is to lift the spirits and really, change up the routine. A lot of times when you are on chemo treatment, you kind of can get into a routine of just, you're not feeling so great. You go to the house, you go to the doctor, you go to the house, to the doctor. So this is a way to have something to look forward to, put something on the calendar, and get excited, and also, meet some new people and, still have an adventure,
Yeah. In the line of work I do, I deal with a lot of people that have been injured. And one of the things that happens is they go home, they sit on the couch all day, and it's probably one of the worst things that they can do. They sit there and all they do is they think about the pain or their situation, and it leads to depression, anxiety, etc. And even though, you can't take that away, you can't take away the disease or whatever, getting them out helps them forget about their problems, at least for a little while. Gives them something to look forward to. It takes them out, lets them experience something that maybe they've never done before.
Yeah. And so the idea of Dose of the Coast came about because my father he was diagnosed with cancer like 6 years before he ended up passing away. And over time, the energy levels were decreasing. He was an avid fisherman. He introduced me to fishing and introduced all of his children to fishing. And it was kind of heartbreaking to see over time his energy levels decrease. He had to actually sell his boat, because he wasn't using it, which we all know is the worst thing for them to just sit up. So my husband and I, Adam, we decided to give him a charter fishing trip for his birthday one year. And we went out of Empire and Mark Trahan was our captain, and we had a really, really good day. There were a lot of special accommodations that I had to ask for. And so I had to pick a charter captain I was comfortable with, and I asked him, to stay close, and can you avoid the waves, and can you have a bimini top, and can you, all these things that, I realized might be difficult for somebody to, to afford a trip, maybe while they're under, chemo, and also feeling comfortable enough to call and also ask for all those special accommodations. So my dad and I, we had a great time, and a year and a half later, he was still thanking me for that trip. And it kind of clicked after he passed away that this is something that I think other people could benefit from that were in his similar situation. He was in that depression stage that you were talking about. He was just kind of in that rut. And after, we told him that he was going on a chartered fishing trip, he's never picked out his clothes in his, whole life. My mom always dressed him. And so he had his fishing shirt ready. He had all the way down to the shoes, the socks, all laid out on the bed. And we still had 2 weeks before he was going. So,
oh, God.
Even just putting it on the calendar was a lift. And, going was a lift. And then you get to cook your fish that you bring home, and it's a lift. So it seems like it's one day, but it's really not. It's the anticipation and then the memories, and it's something else to talk about at Thanksgiving other than your last hospital visit. There's all kinds of little benefits for it that we've seen with our participants.
Yeah, I think, Tyler, you said there's a question from the audience?
Oh.
Yeah, well, somebody was asking how they could volunteer for Dose of the Coast, and I'm just going to add to that after, I think Aaron's maybe the one that had first told me about y'all, and I think it's a great cause, and we talked a little bit about it off the air, but I think I'd love for our club to be able to get involved with that and maybe incorporate kayak fishing into some of these experiences for these people. So, but to get back to the question, how would one volunteer get involved with your charity?
The easiest way is just to let me know that you're interested through the contact form on doseofthecoast.org. But we have a lot of fundraisers. We raise all of our money, through fundraisers. I'm sorry. So we're not only, trying to, on one end, actually accomplish the mission, but also to raise the money. So there's two things kind of going on in tandem all the time, or coordinating trips and then doing fundraisers. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of logistics and planning. So if you're good at that, I would definitely love for you to help. As far as on the water and kayaking, we definitely want to start incorporating kayaking. My first thought was, and I'm definitely open to ideas. But one of the thoughts was maybe doing like a survivor's kayak, with people that maybe are not on chemo because your energy levels are so low. That maybe people that all share similar experiences could maybe all come together and maybe do, fishing, or even just, when you're kayaking, you're so intertwined with the environment. You see so much more than when you're zooming by with a motor. So, even just a paddle, along a marsh coastline, like an eco paddle, something as simple as that, I think would really be interesting to a lot of people. For us, we get kind of desensitized as fishermen, and you feel like you have to limit out, or you have to catch the biggest redfish or whatever it is. But really, sometimes just seeing a bird fly over is like more than enough for people that don't get on the water at all or very often.
Yeah, and most of us probably have more than one kayak. So I know for a fact that we could get enough people together with extra boats and possibly even supplement with some of the local dealerships demo type boats. I'm sure somebody might want to get involved, and I know we could put enough boats together to do something like that.
That would be awesome. I think that would be great, and we could definitely work with the hospitals to
and just to make things easier to because sometimes we go to some areas, but we've got connections with people like Eddie Mullen over at PAC, where he does the mothership trips, where he'll basically drop you off right there where you need to catch fish. We could certainly work out something with him. That's one of the things I was thinking about when you were talking about people who are probably undergoing chemo, may not be the best candidate on a kayak, but certainly, people that have survived or, or something of that nature, we can certainly work it out. We've got a lot of really good fishermen on here, a lot of really good guys. And I know, I think all of us have probably been touched by someone in our family or close friends that have, had cancer. And I know it touches all of us real close to our heart. And I think to have an organization out there like yours that focuses on helping these people, it's not just cancer, obviously, but other life-threatening illnesses, is something really great. The trips that you do, I know you charter sailboats and fishing boats and all that. Is that something that you guys have to pay for? Are those trips donated, or how's that work?
They're discounted. So we try to reimburse for fuel and for bait. Live bait can be so expensive, and sometimes that's the most successful way to fish. So we do reimburse for all of those things. We try to cover the cost. We never ever want to walk away from a situation where the person that's helping us feels taken advantage of in any capacity. The fishermen are dedicating so many trips a year. They really, anytime I call, if they are available, they say yes. So the coastal community has really shown how generous, they can be, including you guys, nominating us, and then, hearing that we're again nominated, just to be nominated at all and thought of is, a great honor in and of itself. So, just the generosity of the entire coast has been great, and we do have to pay for those trips, but we're happy to. We're just very grateful that they do give us a discount, so then we can do more trips a year, with the added money.
Sure. And I know we've got a lot of fishermen on here, and even some charter guides that watch us and stuff. If you guys are certainly interested in maybe offering a discount over the Dose of the Coast, or offering a trip or something like that, feel free to reach out to Ashley. She's on I think you're on Facebook, Ashley Ferguson, right?
Yeah, Ashley Walker Ferguson.
Ashley Walker Ferguson, and Dose of the Coast is on Facebook as well.
Oh, yes.
So they could reach out to you there. Now, let's see here. I was looking at for the people that do qualify, is there any charge for them, or is it basically free for them?
It's free. We try to cover as much of the cost as possible, and then send them home. So that way they're they're completely covered, and we provide boat snacks, waters, that they use during the day. And in some cases, for some events, like when we can put a big event together, every year we do the Empire South Pass Tarpon Rodeo event, and on a Tuesday before the rodeo takes place that weekend, we go down to Empire, and that whole city comes together to take care of us. They cover everything. They provide lodging for 5 families.
Wow.
Private cabins for each family at the J-Bar Lodge. They feed us constantly, like so much food. They feed us dinner the night before. They feed us breakfast before we go out on the boat. Then all the charter captains are lined up right there on the dock with everything ready to go. Our participants just step out onto the boat, straight from eating breakfast, straight onto the boats. They take them fishing all day, and then when they get off the boats, there's usually, lunch, laid out for them too. So they really get the VIP treatment down in Empire. So in some cases, they even, we try to feed everybody. That's just my family way, like as much as I can try to feed. We typically incorporate a meal of some sort into the trip. We definitely send everybody home with T-shirts and buffs and hats and everything, just so they, any way we can just make them feel special. And we're always trying to think of ways to enhance that experience, and I know everybody says that, the trip is the experience, but I always want to try to do something else, like something more, and just try to think of ways to make them understand that we really want them to feel special.
And when is that tournament this year?
This year it's going to be June 30th and 31st, I believe. No, July 30th and 31st is going to be the Empire event, and then the 1st of August is that rodeo down in Empire. So
the rodeo, it's a fishing rodeo down in August?
Yes, it's a fishing rodeo at Delta Marina, which is newly opened and newly renovated. So they they're having the rodeo there, but on the Tuesday and Wednesday before the rodeo starts to kind of kick off the rodeo, they invite.
Okay. Is there a kayak division?
There might be. I'm not sure.
That's all right. We'll come down there with some kayaks and do a kayak division anyway.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So, but if people,
there absolutely is. I remember last year that a lady named Heather came in and she had got, there absolutely is. I'm sorry that it took me that long to find that information in my brain. Yes.
Some of our members have been known to take the boat division in the kayaks, so don't be surprised if people just show up.
Yeah. So, listen, if people, aren't charter captains, but, they, they were, really like the organization that you have and they want to help out, can they just donate money to Dose of the Coast? Is that possible?
Yep, they can donate money. We also have T-shirts for sale and hats and things like that if they want to contribute in a way that they can also wear something proudly. But that's all through our website. There's a donate button and also a little shop button, and you can go see what we have. We actually have some new hats that aren't on there, so I'll add those tonight.
That's fantastic. Well, Ashley, I really appreciate you coming on with us tonight. I don't know, did we have any other questions, Tyler?
I hadn't seen any more.
Oh, I just saw one. They wanted to know, did you say you were married? Apparently we have a lot of fans of redheaded girls.
Oh, okay.
And, you are the first girl on here. A lot of these guys, they've got nothing to do. So
I'm married to one of y'all's members. So.
Oh, well, there you go, guys. So she's off the market.
Yeah.
Actually, I just want to see if we could turn your face as red as your hair. So
it's almost look.
But Tyler keeps taking you off the main screen and showing his beard instead.
Awesome. That's fine. That's okay with me.
Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. We really
thank y'all for having me.
To having you back on again. Maybe before your tournament, we can have you back on.
Yeah.
And we can talk a bit about that. Great organization you have there. I'm so glad that you're up again to be nominated for a contribution or our donation this year. And feel free to stick on if you want to watch the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But guys, again, if y'all want to learn more about it, you can go to doseofthecoast.org. They're on Facebook. You can check out the website. Shoot Ashley an email or something on Facebook if you're interested on that.
Thank y'all so much.
You were so welcome. Thank you so much. Paddlepalooza. We got our tournament coming up. Now, we know that the majority of us fishing Paddlepalooza won't be placing in the tournament. There's so many places, although we have a lot. I think there's 5, 10, 15, 20, like 30 spots available, I think. Is that right, Tyler? Mm-hmm. Between the main event, the slam, you've got 5 places for stud red, 5 places for big trout, 5 places for flounder, and 5 places for leopard red?
Yeah. So, there's 20 places plus 10 for the slam categories. 30.
Yeah.
And then you get some other bonus categories for ladies, seniors, and youth. So.
Ladies, seniors, and youth. Yeah. So, you're going to have probably Tommy Eubanks, Ashley Ferguson, or Trisha Lewis taking the females, maybe. And then you've got, a lot of kids like to come out there and fish. So, it's a good time. But look, not all of us are going to be placing, and that's okay, because really one of the big things we all look forward to is after a long day of fishing and after, sitting through the weigh-in and watching everybody get their awards, you finally get to the post-award ceremony raffle. And that's one of my favorite parts of the whole tournament, because you'll spend $200 on raffle tickets when a $30 life jacket or something like that, and never be more excited. It's a great thing to do. We have some great prizes, though. I mean, I'm kidding about the life jacket. We do have some really nice PFDs out there, rods and reels. But what you have to remember is that the proceeds from the raffle go a long way to absorbing the cost of the tournament. What a lot of people don't realize is that the tournament, to put on this tournament, cost us literally thousands of dollars between the food, the table, the chair rentals, renting out Bridgeside Marina, the insurance costs for all that. So there's a lot of different things we have to do that just to break even. And so we do that by doing the raffle. It also goes to help maintaining some of the overhead for the club. Some of that money also goes towards charities like Dose of the Coast and like some of the other charities we're going to have on before Paddlepalooza. So this year, we got a new sponsor coordinator, Aaron LaRose. He was the past president for the last, I think, 2 years of Bayou Coast. He wanted to get out, but we convinced him to stay on. And Aaron's done just an outstanding job this year, getting some great items donated for this year's raffle. Aaron, before we get to the raffle items, let's start with the captain's bags. Tell us a little bit what the captain's bags are. This is something that everybody who fishes the tournament gets. What can people expect to get in their captain's bag this year? If you can give us a little preview.
Yeah, so our captain's bags, a lot of tournaments down south here like to do captain's bags and put a few items or swag, as we call it, in those for the entrance. Years past, we've always had a pretty good turnout, and our sponsors have been very generous. I mean, first and foremost, as you can see on our Facebook cover photo and on our forum page and website and on the sidebar, our club has been very, very fortunate for many years now to have such a large number and large breadth of sponsors to donate items, whether it be to the raffle or to the captain's bags. And this year is no different. Normally, we one of our returning sponsors who we've had for many years is Louisiana Fish Fry. They will be. Let me see. I've got some items sitting around here. If I can grab them off camera. We're going to be having fish fry in our bags again this year.
What flavor is that, Aaron? What flavor?
I've got in my hands New Orleans style and the Cajun crispy.
Oh.
But look for a bag of either one of these or the seasoned fish fry, as well as the beer batter is another one we were given. They've been giving us the fish fry to put in captain's bags since I've been there. So I've been in the club about 5 or 6 years now. And I think every year we've always had, a bag, or it used to be a box, but a fish fry to put in every captain's bag. We also use that fish fry on Saturday night to cook our meal. So if you've never fished one of our large tournaments before, all the fish weighed in on Saturday, unless you decide to keep it. All the fish are weighed in and then filleted right there on site and prepared that night for the entire club's meal, along with some salad and some other things that you don't really want to eat, but the fish is good. And I
only eat when I eat the flounder, I only eat the white-sided meat, not the dark-sided meat.
You would.
Yeah, they fillet it especially for me.
Exactly. We're fortunate enough to we also get some bags to use for that. So Louisiana Fish Fry has been very good to us over the years. They're coming back again this year. Also, one of our large sponsors, Pure Fishing, in particular, Gulp. That's one of the things I know everybody's excited about getting in their bags, especially if they come early on Friday, because pretty much 9 times out of 10 they're using that bait the next day. We all know how well Gulp works in our Louisiana marshes, so everybody's excited to get a little bag of Gulp in their captain's bags. This year,
what kind of Gulp we're getting? Are we getting a little yellow curly tail Gulp, or?
I think there's some chartreuse. I saw some white. I think they're all the swimming mullets.
Yeah, that's maybe my favorite.
Some new penny shrimp. I didn't quite see the whole box, but I did kind of peek in there, and I do know there's definitely white swimming shad and possibly some shrimp. So it's also of note, which I know we said we have about 150 participants. It does behoove you to enter or sign up for the tournament early. We do anticipate 200, 250, on the high end for the amount of anglers, but we don't always get that many items to put in the captain's bags. So know that as you enter, you're given a number, 1 through, whatever. And as we get these items on Friday, when we start stuffing these captain's bags, we start from number 1. So number 1 up to however many we have is who gets, those items. So, first 100 are pretty much guaranteed to get one of everything we're going to talk about. After that, 150 maybe, 200, that's where you start kind of getting, there may not be enough to give to everybody. So if you haven't already registered, register early so that you can maximize your benefits from that captain's bag. Another thing, brand new sponsor this year, or a couple brand new sponsors this year. We've got Cajun lures. One of my favorite lures that they have is that Kraken Craw, which is very good for red fishing in the marsh. We should be getting some samples of those to put in some captain's bags.
Nice.
Also, Captain Lane Miller was one of our great sponsors for our Minimalist Challenge, providing jig heads for everybody. He's going to be doing that again for Paddlepalooza.
That's those Death Grip jig heads?
That is the Death Grip jig head. So be on the lookout for a small sample pack of Death Grip jig heads. This time, smaller sizes. So I know for Minimalists, we kind of got a little wide-eyed and had some large ones in there that may not have been as useful. So we downsized a little bit for the Paddlepalooza. And also one of the most recent new sponsor is Four Horsemen Corks. You may have heard of them. The name's definitely circulating around the scene.
We're getting a Four Horsemen cork in the captain's bags?
Everybody gets a Four Horsemen cork in the captain's bag. So that's a great new sponsor we have. I'm pretty excited about that. Definitely eager to see that cork, because like I said, it's the hot cork right now. Everybody's talking about it. So we're all going to get one in our captain's bag.
I'm going to get me in my captain's bag. I'm going to get a T-shirt with the Kraken.
That's right.
I'm going to get me some Louisiana fish fry.
That's right.
I'm going to get me some Gulp.
That's right.
A Four Horsemen cork.
That's right.
Death Grip jig heads.
That's right. You know what that makes?
That's the Terry Fam special right
there. That's the Terry Fam special.
That's the Terry Fam special right there, man.
Special.
Jeez, and Pete's and this Kraken Craw.
Yeah, and the Kraken Craw. I'm excited about the Kraken Craw. But let me tell you, Terry's probably shaking in his boots right now because everybody's going to have it. I mean,
everybody's going to have it.
Advantage. There's no advantage now.
He's not special anymore.
He's just shot himself in the foot.
Do we have any of that Creole 180 seasoning that he's using?
No. We got Louisiana fish fry.
You should have hooked us up with some
sprinkle the Louisiana fish fry. On your fish that's already fried in Louisiana fish fry.
Yeah. Listen, guys, we're going to get right back to Aaron with some raffle items. We got to get a quick word from our sponsor. Aaron, we're going to get right back to you here in just a second.
What's up, guys? It's Brock again from the Backpacker. Another cool product I wanted to highlight were the Smith sunglasses. These are what I personally wear every trip I'm out on the water. My personal choice is the Guide's Choice. They have a thicker frame on the side, so they block out a lot of side light, and they come with some really sweet lenses that are great for our waters down here. We got a lot of different styles in them. A couple of things that I like: they're very light, a lot lighter than a lot of the other glasses that I've tried. So they don't give you that pressing on your ears or on your nose. And another thing they do is they flex. So when you're wearing them all day, you don't get that headache. They kind of form to your head. They fit around your hat. You don't have to worry about feeling uncomfortable with them.
And don't forget, be sure to visit us online at www.backpackeroutdoors.com or in one of our stores in Baton Rouge and Lafayette.
Welcome back, guys. And we are back with Aaron LaRose. Aaron, let's talk about some of the other items that are going to be raffled off. I know we've got a lot of great sponsors. We're not going to cover all the stuff here tonight. We've got a lot of other things to talk about, but you can take us through and show us some of the great stuff that can be raffled off for people. And look, you don't have to fish the tournament to enter the raffle. If you want to just come down, hang out with the guys, maybe grab a plate, some fish, and enter the raffle, you are more than welcome to do that. We've got some great prizes. Aaron, take us through some of the stuff that is taking up a lot of space at your house right now.
Yeah, Sean's right. As he said earlier, we as a club have dues, and we get a little money from that to kind of cover basically overhead costs. But the money that the club really makes to do projects or to give to charities and things like that, a lot of this comes from that raffle. And I can't say it enough. We're very, very fortunate. Other clubs, don't have the same level of support. They get support and we support them, but I can't say enough about enough good things about our sponsors and what they do for us. Another returning sponsor for our raffle, another crowd favorite, is the Procure scents. We've got 5 different small bottles of Procure, the menhaden, mullet, shrimp, inshore saltwater, and blue crab scents. If you don't have gulp and you just have other baits that maybe don't have that scent built in, you can put a little stink on that and get a little extra attention to your lures. another new sponsor. We actually had, let's go back to my notes real quick. We probably had 6 new sponsors this year.
Wow.
Which is always great. You have your return, we have our returning sponsors, core group that we've been fortunate to have every year, but it's really great when we get some new ones. And for the first time, and I'm actually kind of extra excited about this one because we do not have another sponsor that actually does this. So this is Yak Line. If you can kind of see these here.
What the hell is that?
These are handmade stringers.
Look.
So this guy, and I'm going to get his name wrong if I don't quickly look it up. Sorry, I am messing up on that. But while I look that up, these are handmade. Got a real big carabiner hook here to hook either to your seat or the side of your kayak, the handle, anything like that. And it's got some really strong, I don't know what pound, it's almost like 100-something pound test thickness of line, and then your hooks at the bottom. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 strings on each hook, and very, very durable. Pretty simple concept, but we don't have any stringer sponsors, so this was pretty cool pickup. Guy by the name of Andrew Seal. Andy Seal is the owner of this little company, Yak Line. So go check these out. We're going to have 3 of these to give away for Paddlepalooza and 3 more at Fallen Tide later this year. So we thank Andrew for that. Also, another returning sponsor, everybody's happy about these guys, is Ego. The Ego nets. I would definitely say the best net for kayak fishing for 2 main reasons. One, just its length is perfect. It's a little small wading net, which a lot of people would probably use up north for like trout fishing and stuff. But because of its short, stubby handle, its durability, and it's got just an extra little lip in the front, great for a kayak because you don't really have a lot of room. You just want to reach over, off the side. But also this plastic webbing, netting, as you can see, very wide holes, great for if you treble hooks with top waters. If they do get caught in there, they're a lot easier to get out as opposed to other nets that may have a little smaller mesh. But very durable. I've had one for many years. I actually found one of these in the marsh one time. Used it for almost an entire year.
That was mine.
Lost it myself. Found it at Bason's, believe it or not.
That was mine. I lost
it at Bason's. Lost it later that year in Trout Challenge in Hopedale. So as I tell my friends when I talk about that, I said, the marsh giveth and the marsh taketh away. But purchased another one and definitely use it every trip I get. Also, another big returning sponsor, which we cannot say enough about, kind of upgraded us this year. Our good friend Rick Stevens with California Innovations. They are the research and development group that created the Columbia fish bags with help from Bayou Coast members years ago. They have now come out with their own line of ice chests called Arctic Zone. And their newest Arctic Zone is called a Titan. And we debuted a few of them last year. I know Tyler was able to get some. This year, we have 11 of these beauties. And so you have 11 chips.
Oh, the Titan.
I'm going to back up here so you can see this whole thing here. This is the Titan cooler, completely nylon, large plastic zipper on top, sealed. And you can see in there, just closed it, had it open. Whole lot of space in that. Trying to get it on the camera there. Completely lined, sealed, very durable, very boxy. Honestly, it's too pretty for me to put on the kayak, but it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I could put fish in it. It's a nice cooler. Yeah. I mean, if you've seen the Yeti soft coolers, this thing will give those a run for their money. I mean, it is well built for sure.
Yeah, right. And the zipper is fantastic. It's got a very, very heavy duty zipper. I actually won one of those last year at Paddlepalooza or Fallen Tide. I think it was maybe Fallen Tide, and Josh took advantage of me, Thompson, and traded me for something. I don't remember what I got in return, but he got my cooler. I kind of want it back.
Was it a small deer that holds wine? Was that what it was?
I think it was that boudoir photo with Scott Myers. So I never got to use it. So I don't know. I was upset though. I should have definitely done that. Oh,
on the water boudoir photo.
Off the water boudoir.
Off the water boudoir photo. So yeah, the Titan coolers. Like I said, we've got 11 of those. We were supposed to have 10, and 11 showed up. And I messaged Rick. I was like, "Hey, you said 10, but 11 showed up," and he said, "Happy accident." So thanks to Rick. He's been able to come down to Fallen Tide in the past, really enjoyed himself. Those guys love us. Keep a lookout.
And
keep an eye out for them. I'm not going to – we've got a real big surprise later this year for Fallen Tide from them, hopefully. I can't say anything right now because, in the event it falls through. But keep an eye out for Arctic Zone and Columbia coming later this year that we'll really like. So the next returning one I want to talk about is Bending Branches. And they've actually stepped up this year. Years past, we've gotten a couple Bending Branches Angler classics. But this year they surprised us and gave us a Pro Angler Pro paddle. So Bending Branches Angler Pro paddle, very detailed as to various configurations you can get and put in angles. This is I was trying to get the length.
Those guys that don't fish in Hobies, those are really useful.
Yeah. Oh, look. There's still times when you can do one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, pedal drive, paddle kayaks, either one, you're gonna have a good quality paddle for standing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The marsh and stuff. So
absolutely, you got to. I mean,
230 centimeters to 245 centimeters. It actually extends a little bit, so you can actually have about 15 centimeter differential in here, as well as offsetting angles if you like to use your paddle that way. But very, very beautiful paddle. Once again, Bending Branches has been a sponsor of ours for many years, and this year excited to see that they've actually upgraded us to the pro model. See a couple more. One of our also returning title sponsors. We talked about Gulp earlier. Joe Gaspar with Pure Fishing, very close friend of the club's, title sponsor for probably 3 or 4 years now. If you've fished any of our smaller tournaments, you've seen contingency prizes like the Gulp, or for the championship, for example, some reels. So this year, once again, contingency prizes for if you're a winning angler and you've caught your we're going to do the large redfish category as well as large trout category. And if you caught, so the way this works is we're going to start with first place big red, first place big trout, and go down from there. If you catch your trout or red on a Abu Garcia reel or rod, or a Penn reel or rod, and notify us on the awards stand, you will receive your choice of a Revo X Inshore. This is a brand new Revo X Inshore. Very nice reel.
That's the one I want.
That's the one Tyler wants right here. There it is. Got the nice blue accents there. Low profile.
Nice. Looks smooth.
Very smooth. And the other one is if I can remove this tape, is a Spin Fisher 6 Penn spin caster. And okay, I haven't opened these up yet. I'm going to do that now to show the kids at home. And there we go. So that is a brand new Spin Fisher 6 reel from Penn and Pure Fishing. So this is a what series? 4500 series, right there. So good mid-range, spin caster for both redfish and trout. Probably a little heavier for the trout than I would normally use, but definitely good for redfish. So yes, enter the tournament, catch a big red or big, get in the red, big red or big trout categories. And if you've used Penn or Abu Garcia, you have a chance to win one of these reels, courtesy of Pure Fishing. So yeah, that's kind of rounds up, what we want to talk about for today.
Yeah.
Like I said, we do have a whole lot more sponsors. You can see that on our Facebook page, and we'll get into more detail about them in a later broadcast. Also, keep an eye out. Starting this week, leading up to the tournament, you'll get we'll start posting pictures of the rest of the items that will be on the raffle. We have a lot more, but that's what we're allotted for time tonight. But keep an eye out for announcements on our Facebook page on the rest of our sponsors and what other opportunities you'll have to win on the raffle. To be honest, I think half of our turnout is not just a chance to fish and get into the money for the fishing, but a chance to win something at the raffle. I think it sets us apart from a lot of other tournaments. People see that, hey, we have a challenging tournament because we are a slam format, but even if I don't win there, I have a chance to win the raffle. And people love that. So, there's people that go there, and we've had even people that don't even fish. They just enter the tournament or just, come and just buy raffle tickets, as friends of somebody who's fished the tournament.
And it's not 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, you're talking 30, 40 raffle items at least.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At least.
And come early. Like Sean said, we're going to do some on Friday night. Can't really say which ones they're going to be. We usually decide that day. We just grab some stuff. There's no real rhyme or reason. We do try to, mix it up. We do some large items on Friday night as well to encourage people to come to the captain's meeting to hear about the rules and just, be around the site. But yeah, so, keep an eye out for those announcements, and you'll hear more about those from our sponsors. And as we always say, support our sponsors since they support us so well. So if you see those names and you have a chance to go out and support those guys, please do so. And let them know you're with Bayou Coast and you heard about them from Paddlepalooza or just the Facebook page. And, that word gets out, and they do appreciate that.
But
Thanks,
so Sean, one more sponsor. So I remember when we had Zook Rods on, was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks
ago. Yeah, I remember you challenged him to see if he could build some Star Wars themed rods for you. Right?
I did.
And I was wondering, did he come through or?
He did. He called me. He called me Friday and said, "Sean, I got your rods ready for you." And he sent me some pictures while he was building them. So I got to see the process, from when the blanks came in to the pieces and kind of the building process. And he's out there in Wagaman, not too far from my house, only about really 10, 15 minutes. So I drove out there Saturday. And if you order rods from Brent Zook, you've got to go out to his place. He's got this big pond. He's just on this big piece of land. It's very relaxing to go into a shop and see everything he's got set up there. But for me, a Sith Lord red rod and a Jedi Knight blue rod. Show them to us, and I'm absolutely in love with these rods. I don't know if I'm ever going to fish with them. I love them so much, but he actually let me pick out the font for my name on the rods. We went over on the computer program. He put it all in there for me. He designed them all handmade. Just what I wanted. Super, super light. I think the rods, each of them only weigh 4.5 ounces. Really light, really durable. Not much of a photographer, but you can see what he did. The workmanship he did. Each rod is custom made. Whatever you want, he can add to it. Both of these are spinning reels. Zook has actually donated 2 of his custom made rods for Paddlepalooza. So you'll have a chance to win those rods there. These are $180 rods that he's donated. You have a great chance to win one of these rods. And I'll have my rods there if you want to check them out and just see. Actually, Zook mentioned he may actually come out there and walk around and meet everybody. You'll be able to, ask him questions and see if there's a particular type of rod. You want an LSU rod, he can do LSU rod. You want a black and gold rod, he can do one for you like that. So anyway, I'll have those rods out there. I'll put them out there by the raffle table if you want to check them out maybe you want to get your own custom made rod. It's certainly, the pictures certainly don't do the justice what he did with these. They were just fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to matching them with a reel and going there. So guys, we are going to run over tonight, but that's okay because there's no one to cut us off. We've got to talk some fishing. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who have never fished golden meadow or basons. So if you join us tonight and you're waiting for me to give you some, my secret flounder hole, that's not going to happen. Mostly because I don't have one, but I do have some tips. It might help you out catching trout, redfish, or flounder. I've been fortunate enough to win, a couple places here and there. I've caught a few slams, caught a few trout and redfish on tournament day. So let's start with basons, and Tyler's got a map up there for us. So basons is the northernmost area you can fish within our boundaries for Paddlepalooza. It's not an area I fish a lot. It's really known for its big redfish. It has been known to produce some trout, especially during the wintertime. A lot of people will go out to what they call the sulfur mines, and that's something we'll cover in another episode because we're in April. But what you'll see a lot of times with the guys fishing tournaments, you'll see people hopping. Paddlepalooza is one of those tournaments where people are going to hit 2, maybe 3 spots in the same day. They're going to go to one area for the trout, maybe one area for a flounder, and then another area for the redfish. A lot of times what you'll see people do is hopping over to basons to try to catch the redfish. So the great thing about basons is you really don't have to go that far to launch to catch fish. If you're going to fish it, one thing you have to remember is that you have to pay to launch. So when you're going in there, you're going to see a box on your left-hand side. I think it's Aaron and I were talking about it. I think it's Gator Cove now, Aaron. Right. So there's a little box. That
box is before the levee.
Before the levee, right on your left-hand side. You are going to fill out an envelope, with, I think it's got your license plate number on it. Put your money in the envelope. It's cash only, so make sure you have cash on it. It's either $5 or $10. I don't remember, but check it out. Put your envelope in there. Make sure you pay. Then you're going to go over the levee to launch. Now, once you launch, you really don't have to go far. You're going to come in. You actually park. Now, this is different from Golden Meadow. You can actually park on that side of the levee by the water. I will tell you that when the water gets high, when that tide comes in, it will get in. It will actually cover the bottom of your tires. I've had it out there. If you park close to the launch in the water area, the water will get pretty high. You'll be tiptoeing through water to get back into your vehicle. So if you're going to go out to basons, you get out there, you can catch plenty of redfish within a mile of the launch. Typically, what I do when I go out there, I'll go down, I'll hang a left and start fishing those banks in an area, the marsh a little bit to your left. Again, you're only looking for one good redfish. You don't have to sit there and worry about a limit. Especially if you got your trout and your flounder, you may only need an 18-inch redfish to get in the top 3. The last couple of years, we've only had a couple of true slams. So, if you've got a 12-inch flounder or 12-inch trout and a 16-inch redfish, feel pretty comfortable. You might be finishing in the top 10. Every year is different. One year we had close to 40 slams. I think last year we only had 3 true slams. Now, Aaron, I know that you fished out in basons a bit. Maybe you could give us a little bit better advice on what you do when you go out there.
Yeah, I'll say the 3 main areas, or 3 or 4 main areas you want to know about basons is, of course, the sulfur mine. That's a bit of a paddle or a pedal, but it is due west, and it is a big area to fish for trout or reds. Kind of just want to kind of stick to the edges. There are some holes in the middle that you'd have to kind of find on your own, but is a pretty popular spot. South of the launch is a connection or a collection of dead-end canals. You'll see on the map. A lot of those canals are a little deeper, into the 5 and 6 foot range. North of the launch, as you go towards what we call the stitch, which is a collection of dead-end canals that kind of looks like a stitch, like stitches on the marsh. That is the northernmost border for our tournament. But before that and below, very grassy. I would say bordering a Dularge or a Delacroix type grassy area, depending on that time of the year, of course. But you could see a good bit of grass up there. Other than that, though, I mean, it's really the whole area is really just got fish. Now, I was told that recently for Double Trouble, there was some decent trout caught out of that launch. I wasn't given, unfortunately, the details of where. I anticipate sulfur mine, but possibly not. But redfish, no doubt. Redfish is I wouldn't say guaranteed, but very, one of the easier areas to catch redfish. True story, 2 years ago, Jared Leroy and I, Jared Leroy is a member who is normally, you'll see him on his stand-up paddleboard. He brought that down, but anticipating high winds, which we got because it was a,
Paddlepalooza.
KFC tournament. It's Paddlepalooza. It's going to be horrible weather. We had very, very strong winds from the south, so he opted to borrow my other Hobie and fish out of that, contrary to his religious beliefs. So he was in a Hobie. We launched out of Basons in an attempt to hopefully get us a red. And true story, we went right out the launch. He actually caught a 24-inch red within spitting distance of the launch, right at the opening to the main canal. We circled the main canal, and there's a rock wall you can see on that map, right, not 100 feet, 200 feet from the launch. We pulled up to that, got out of our kayak, and stood on the rock wall, which there are rules. If your kayak is in a launch position in the water, which it was, you can't be within 100 feet of it. So we actually jumped on that rock wall. That wind was pushing all of the water in that little canal from the south. From the south, it was pushing it north against the rocks on the other side. And we probably sat there and we probably each caught 8 to 10 reds, just fishing popping cork with gulp right on the other side of that rock wall. That was the same year that top two of the top five finishers, I think one slam was caught, second and third, or a third and fourth, did not have a red. That is a true story. Did not have a redfish to complete the slam. And we were here catching 10, slot reds, and that's all they needed. So, watch your win. Oh, the fourth, I said 4 main locations. So I talked about sulfur mine, northern grassy areas, southern dead-end canals. The other big one, which may or may not come into play for Paddlepalooza, but it's definitely great for winter fishing, is literally right in front of the pipeline. That pump station right there goes down to a 20-plus foot hole. When you go there and stand at the launch, you'll see a telephone pole right in front of those pipelines. That, like I said, that pump station goes down to about 20 foot. So in the wintertime, not a Paddlepalooza spot, but just so you know, in the wintertime, when the reds and trout stack up into deep, deep water, they will congregate right there in the hundreds. I've been there last year, not this past winter because we really didn't have a good winter, but last year, stopped there on the way back from Golden Meadow in February, early March, and easily caught a limit from the bank.
I remember that.
Because, and there was a boat there that was just doubling up every other chance. And it was a mix. It was for every rat red, there were 2 slots and a bull caught for every rat red. So it wasn't just like a bunch of rat reds. It was literally every size you could imagine. And all you had to do was get a bait down to the bottom. That was it. And just hold on. So for winter fishing, definitely a great spot right there. But just overall, red fishing in Basons is actually pretty good.
I just want to throw out a quick safety note too, that they do kick those pumps on from time to time, and it's pretty strong current. So if you're planning on bringing maybe kids or less experienced people in kayaks, just be aware that they do kick those pumps on from time to time.
Correct, and I'm glad you do bring that up because not only do they kick those on, and yes, it does create a little bit of turbulence. It also attracts fish. So if by chance you are in the area when they do kick the pumps on, try to get to the outer edge of that and throw into it. You'd be surprised what you pick up. I mean, everything from flounder, redfish, maybe a trout, depending on what time of year. But that pump also does attract fish because I think it stirs up the bait. It kind of attracts everything and it kind of pumps stuff in. And it's one of those things that just kind of like a dinner bell for fish. So a lot of times you catch. Of all the
areas fishing, that's within the boundaries for Paddlepalooza, Bason's for the most part probably the best area. to catch a redfish in, as far
I would
as
say that in Golden Meadow, yeah.
Yeah. So going on, the next place we want to kind of focus on is Golden Meadow, and that's a place I really love to fish. I started really exploring it a couple years ago and last year, and it's a big area to explore, to be honest with you. Now, the good thing with the Golden Meadow, it's a free launch. They got T-Pops right there, right before the launch. It's right after the baseball parks when you enter Golden Meadow. They've got T-Pops, and they've got a bait shop right there. So if you're looking to get some live bait, you can stop at T-Pops. You can, get you Coke, water, ice, whatever you want, and go ahead and get you some live bait. They also do sell some artificial bait over there as well. When you get to Golden Meadow, you're going to want to pop across the levee. You're going to unload your stuff. There's actually two places. They've got a couple of back down ramps. Then there's a big pump area. A lot of the guys, just to stay out of the way for the boats, they'll slide the kayaks in right there over the rocks. It's a very easy to do. Launch right there in the pond area. You can kind of get your stuff away. The only problem with it is that you have to drive back over the levee to park and then walk back across the levee to get there. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's a big parking lot, so generally there's going to be plenty of room to park. What I find for the most part fishing Golden Meadow is this. It's generally speaking, you're going to have to do a little bit of a paddle. It's not as close as Bason's, Now that said, Tyler, I know you've got the map of Golden Meadow up. Typically, especially this time of year, most of the trout you're going to find are going to be in the lake. Now, when we fished there the last couple of weekends for Double Trouble, the trout we were finding weren't actually in the lake, excuse me, but they were in the canals and in the marsh, which was a little odd. Could be that the shrimp hadn't shown up yet, but with this weather acting kind of funny, you've just got to find them. Usually there's going to be trout there this time of year. Trout, redfish, flounder. What I normally tell people, if they're fishing Golden Meadow, when you come out, you want to go into the lake. And if you're fishing the east side, which is the launch side of the lake, take a look at where those canals empty into the lake, along that east side. You can actually hit all those where those canals empty into the lake, start hitting those points, either at the point or in the middle, see if you can find some current line and see if there's any trout there. Give it a couple of casts. If you don't have a bite or any significant action within 5 or 6 casts, just keep moving. Now you'll see a part I have highlighted in here towards the northeast corner. You'll see where it says fish the bank for redfish and on the outside for trout. Along that bank there where that tack is, that is actually a reef. It's an oyster reef over there. You get a lot of oyster boats that come out that way, and you won't know it unless you fish it out there. Many times of the year, especially around April, the trout will show up along that reef. The question is, and then the trick is to figure out where they're at, because it'll go from that point where the tack is at, a couple hundred yards going north. What I typically will do is kind of zigzag with the kayak. You want to start off maybe 20, 30 yards from the bank, work yourself off, 70, 80, 100 yards off the bank. You just never know where the trout are going to be at. One thing I find very helpful, maybe troll a little bait behind you under a cork and throw something in front of you, and it kind of helps you cover a little bit more area. If you can find the trout out there, then you're going to stick in that spot. Typically what I found, though, is that the trout tend to move a little bit. So if you anchor, you might get off the school and you may just have to follow them. But if you stop getting bites or it slows down, move up a little bit forward, move back. You'll also see along that shoreline, there's some canals that come out over there. Certainly try those canals where they're emptying out for trout. Flounder. There is flounder all along the shoreline on the outside of the lake over there. What I've done, though, when you're looking for the flounder, I've caught flounder out there along the shoreline. Get up real close to the grass. Kind of look. It's kind of hard to say. I say a floundery type area, and it's hard to describe, but it's one of those places I know it when I see it. It's maybe a place where the grass is a little cut. It's maybe a little cut. Maybe you'll see some water coming around. You're kind of looking for ambush points over there, and things like that. Other good areas to fish, if you want to make the paddle, you can go south. There's some really good trout fishing south. Again, you're going to find these little islands south. I don't really recommend it unless you're with a friend and unless you feel really comfortable crossing the lake. A lot of people do well crossing the lake and fishing on the other side. But just be aware that if that wind kicks up, you get caught in a storm, which happened to me last year. That lake can get rough. It's not all that deep. So you may get stuck on the other side. So just be careful. Pick your days when you do something like that. Now, redfish, Golden Meadow's really good for the redfish. Sometimes they're in the lake, but more often than not, you're going to find them in the marsh. If you're looking at the map and you go to the northeast corner, you'll see where some canals kind of veer off. That is a huge area of marsh back up in there. Again, it's a little bit of a paddle, but you're a little bit more protected from the elements, from the wind. You're going to be fishing in water ranging anywhere from 1 foot to 3 foot deep. It's got a lot of similarities to fishing areas like Delacroix and Reggio. It's got some grass, not as much grass, but very similar to those type of conditions. It's got good sight fishing conditions when the sun's up. A gold spoon works good. I've caught some trout back up in there at certain times. So, you can certainly fish with a cork, a voodoo under a cork or something like that, a gulp. But certainly because of the grass areas and stuff, you're going to want to look in this particular area, at least fishing with a weedless type bait, such as a gold spoon. You will be able to sight fish some red back there. So it's really, it's really a good fishing spot if you're looking to maybe go for that slam. If you say, look, I don't want to move around a lot. I want to fish one area and I'm just going to take my time and fish it. Golden Meadow is a great place to do that. You're going to catch a trout. You're probably going to catch a redfish. There's a good chance you'll catch a flounder. You just got to kind of pound those banks a little bit, look at the points, fish the marsh, and stick around there until you can find something. I know, Tyler, you started fishing a little bit more recently, and I know you've enjoyed fishing out there as well.
Yeah, I really like it over there. I'm definitely starting to learn the area a lot more and getting more confidence in it. You never know, might be a chance I'll be there looking for redfish for sure for Paddlepalooza. So.
Yeah. Aaron, have you fished Golden Meadow before?
I have actually a little more this past year than years past. Switching to it over Basons in certain situations. As you said, the lake decent for trout if they're up there at that time of year. Have a couple good redfish holes that I've been able to find. So definitely a good productive area. But as you said, I would agree, definitely more of a paddle in certain situations to get to where they are versus Basons.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also want to mention, you mentioned about T-Pops. Be on the lookout the week before, or a week or so before the tournament. We like to give a couple bait stores a call ahead of time to let them know that we have a tournament down Highway 1, and we're going to have some kayakers coming in early in hopes that they open up early for us. T-Pops last year opened up, I think, an hour earlier than normal for us. Also, remind me, down in Leeville, Terry's usually opens up a bit early for us. Bridgeside will probably open up a little, half hour or so, hour earlier for us to get live bait. So keep on the lookout for announcements about those bait shops. Like I said, we're going to give them a call a week or so before and see what they're willing to do for us. But in years past, they've been pretty helpful if you want to go get live bait.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So look, we're going to get ready to wrap it up. I don't know if we had any other questions from the audience. If you do, go ahead and type it up there. Just going to cover a quick couple of points here. Josh reminded me that April 30th, we will be having a pre-Paddlepalooza meeting at the Backpacker. Brendan Bayard will be giving his Paddlepalooza presentation. We hope to be there and bring this to you live on Off the Water. Also, we've got our volunteer list posted for Paddlepalooza. We encourage everyone to sign up. If you can come up Friday night, if you can come up Saturday or even Sunday to help pick up anything you can do to help out. We can't put this tournament on without you. 8 officers is not enough, or 7 officers is not enough to be able to do everything that needs to be done. So we really rely on you guys and hope that you can get out there. Next week, we are going to be covering some fishing areas from Leeville to Golden Meadow. I think Aaron's going to be back on and maybe go through some of our other raffle items. We're also going to try to have on one of our other nominations for our donation this year. We'll announce that here in the next few days. Again, if you'd like to become a sponsor of Bayou Coast, please feel free to reach out to me or Tyler or our sponsor coordinator, Aaron LaRose. He can give you all the details, tell you about the benefits of becoming a sponsor with Bayou Coast. As always, if you missed part of tonight's podcast or tonight's episode, you can check it out on YouTube or Facebook. It's also available as a podcast. In a couple of weeks, I think we are going to be having our announcement for the grand prize and the runner-up prize for this year's Paddlepalooza. these, I think backpackers probably outdone themselves this year. I know Brock Miller has been posting some teasers online, so you're only getting a little bit of what's going to be coming up. Can't wait to show those prizes. I think, again, I think everybody's going to be real happy and real excited about those prizes. So I wanted to, again, thanks Ashley Ferguson coming on with Dose of the Coast. Ashley, thanks for coming on with us tonight. Look forward to having you back on again. Aaron, thank you for coming on tonight, and certainly we hope to see you guys at Paddlepalooza. So that's it, and tight lines, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.